Welcome back to Alyssa's Movie Takes. Just got finished seeing The Chosen Season 3, Episode 1 and 2 in the theaters. Pretty full for a New York City crowd. Had a lot of fun with the people to the woman to my left, also with the friends that I went with. It was a great time. My initial reaction was Dallas got me a couple times. I cried at a Matthew scene, I cried at a little James scene. Um, Overall, I am just always very impressed by the acting that I see with characters like Judas, characters still like Jesus. He still gets me a lot too. I liked that we picked up right from where we left off in last season, which was the Sermon on the Mount. So we pick up right from there with the sermon, and it shows how each message hit home for different people in different ways. For instance, Andrew goes to see John in prison at some point, and John says to him, there's thousands of people listening, but God always has something in there right for you, which is true in real life too. Some people can listen to the same sermon and still get something out of it. I thought that was profound to put in there, and a good way to show the different characters in their own different arcs heading into this season. Now, where I thought I was a little cringy was the romance between Rema and Thomas, only because they've liked each other for so long that I didn't quite buy that they're still in such an awkward phase. And also, was this really the first time that the women were going to talk to each other about her having a crush on Thomas? I mean, they've been witnessing this for a long time. So that was one thing that I found a little bit funny, because it just seemed like every time that they were on screen together, they were off in the chemistry by about a beat or a beat and a half, that I just was like, oh, I almost want to root for you, but instead I feel a little bit cringy. Um, I believe that Matthew being portrayed as someone who is learning to be able to interact with the outside world in a completely different way is always fascinating to watch. I like that before he would just kind of lived his life in a cage, whether he was in the tax booth or at his home, he was in a cage. And that worked for him because in The Chosen, they portray him having at least some form of Asperger's, right? He's very smart, but he's not very socially intuitive. So him spending all this time with other people allows him to come out of his shell in a way that, oh, as Jesus preaches, something just completely hits home about a broken relationship. And even with his unique Matthew style, he's able to start to repair that relationship, which was really great. I liked the endings of both episodes a lot. I won't spoil it, but I thought that those were very strong story moments. And I'm happy to say that the momentum is there for season 3. And now, were there parts that were poorly paced? A little bit, yeah. But overall, it was a great thing to see in theaters. I'm glad they released it there. And I have a strong sense that I'm really going to just tear up a lot this season and start to see some of the layers of people who are being given the opportunity to use the gifts that Jesus has given them and use the skills that Jesus has given them. So I think it's going to be really interesting. Quintus, of course, always knocks it out of the park as a villain. And they even show him edging towards violence without actually showing violence, because I think underneath he's probably a very violent person. Rome is very violent. We haven't seen that yet. So what we do get to peek at is his anger, but he still brings that joy as just the campy villain, right? So if you can this weekend, I would go and see it. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy watching it with other Chosen fans at the theater. It's just such an experience. But that's my take on The Chosen Season 3, raw reaction to that, and I hope to talk to you soon.